Hi, I'm Zee Kesler, and I'm going to teach you how I made this sign for my small business using a thunder laser. So I'm going to show you the first steps of how to take this image from Canva and bring it into Lightburn to make a sign. I've got the image here, and you'll notice that the font it's a brush script, so we're going to have to tidy that up. We can either save this image or we can just like do a screen capture and get it. This image will work well because there's a high contrast between the letters in the background. I'm gonna do a print screen capture. Then I'm gonna go to Lightburn. I'm gonna paste it in. And I'm going to click on the image, right click, and I'm going to trace image. And you can see that because the image is pretty high contrast, it's already automatically choosing all the areas that I want. So I can adjust these if I want to. But I think it's fine as it is. It kind of automatically does what it thinks is best. So click OK. Okay, and now if we move this, you'll see there's now a copy. So we can just press delete or backspace. And so now what I'm going to do is remove all of this stuff that says like 25%, notes, photos, like part of the screen that we don't really need. So I'm going to highlight it, and you'll notice that if I do that, everything disappears. So the problem is everything is merged together. So what we want to do is we want to ungroup, and that makes each part of this image separately movable, deletable. So I'm just going to highlight those, this, there we go. So now if we want this to be bigger, we can just select that and we can drag this. We can move it to where we want it to be. So that's just we want everything to be together. So we can move it around on the screen. So the next thing we're going to do is we're going to zoom in, and we're going to look at all these little, so you can see, because the type of font is kind of funky, it's a brush script. So let's highlight these little bits, and we're going to delete those little areas. Some of the bigger ones are okay, they'll be easier to poke out. So there's a little one here. So we're going to go through the whole image and do that. And then you'll notice we can choose the size, what we want it to be. So the height and width. We can make it millimeters or inches, doesn't matter. So I'm going to do a few tests. So when you receive your thunder laser, you'll get a book with material settings. And so I'm going to do my background out of plywood. So I want to test the settings for cutting all the way through to make my circle. But I also want to do a trick where I will engrave my letters on the background. When I engrave them, I'll know exactly where to place my letters cut from MDF on top. It will help me with my alignment. I like to record my settings on the back of my test project so I don't forget. Do some more tests here on the MDF. So now that I know what my settings are going to be, I'm going to take each letter of my project and I'm going to place it on a different layer. And I'm going to make it so my laser doesn't actually cut the other letters, just the letter C, by making sure that the output is turned on, and for the other layers, the output's turned off. Now I want to send the project to the laser. Click OK, or I can name it whatever you want to do. Yes, it's going to overwrite the file, that's okay. My MDF is a little bit bowed, so I'm going to use these blocks here to keep it down. Just make sure that you don't frame it where the blocks are, otherwise it will smash right into them and ruin the laser head. So now I'm going to try framing my project. So now that we've sent the project to the machine, we can press frame. But I'm going to do another one here. So there's my area it's going to cut. That looks pretty good. Now let's see if it cut through. Oh, it's a little bit difficult. There we go. Hooray! There's our first letter. So once again, I've wrote the settings that turned out okay on the back so that I can remember what they were, and I wrote the material as well. So I'm going to do my other letters of the same settings. So here I am cutting the rest of my letters. You'll notice I'm moving around my MDF sheet. This is so I can use up as much of the sheet as possible. Here I am painting the letters. I like to paint the sides of the letters to hide the burn marks of the laser, and we're pretty much done. So here's my completed sign, and you can see I have my MDF letters on the top. The back is made of plywood, and then I've attached another circle of plywood on the back, and this is a little spot for the microcontroller that controls the lighting. I've got some lighting glued around this edge. I just need an adapter that attaches to this, and then I can show you what it looks like lit up. And then I've got a hole so I can mount it on the wall.